Hey, what's up everyone? The Dan Sandwich here, and today I am back in automation and BeamNG.drive, and I'm going to be doing another randomly selected car video. The last one I did, did incredibly well, and I thought it'd be fun if I would try it again. And so I hit the random button, and this is the car that automation gave me. It is a 1949 sports car. But if you saw the last video I did with this idea, I will now spin a wheel and decide what I'm going to turn this 1949 sports car into. So let's take a look at the options we have on the wheel. Here we are. So it's got a lot of different options. Now, some of these are going to require me to move the year out of 1949. So, like, for example, if it lands on an EV, obviously they didn't really have electric cars. I mean, there was a couple of them, back in the, early, like 40s and 50s and stuff like that, but they weren't common, uh, and stuff like that. So let's see what it gives me, and then I will build the car based off of this prompt. I haven't spent a lot of time building cars in the 1940s, but we're gonna do a street racer. So I think that means this is gonna be like a hot rod sort of thing. So that's pretty cool actually. For this, not a bad one to end on. If I'm being honest. So let's take a look at see what we have here and to turn this into a street racer. Again, I haven't spent a lot of time in this era in automation because it's pretty difficult actually to build a good car in this area if you don't really know what you're doing, and I kind of don't. So we'll see. But let's take a look to see what we have here, what they generated going back to the chassis. So again, not a lot of options when it comes to this era. So we have steel panel material, it's a ladder frame, steel chassis material, front longitudinal, double wishbone, front and rear suspension. All in all, not a bad start. Let's take a look at the engine here. So it is a V8, okay, cast iron V8, 3.5 liter, direct acting overhead cam, cast iron, and then basic stuff across the board here. So cast over there. Again, nothing fancy here. No aspiration because nothing was forced induction back then. Although I wonder when we do get superchargers in this game, I wonder what the earliest year we're gonna get superchargers. That could be interesting. But anyway, it is a carbureted engine, of course, because they haven't invented fuel injection yet. 2-barrel twin carburetor. Performance mid. Okay, so again, we're starting with a sports car, so it's actually not a bad start if we're gonna want to turn this into like a hot rod sort of vehicle. Got 155 horsepower out of here. Not so bad. Let's see. Everything's green, so that's good. But we could actually get this to rev a little bit higher and stuff like that. So I might want to see if I can push this engine to its limits a little bit more. But let's take a look at the rest of the car here. I'm going to keep the body style as is, just like I did with the last one I did of this. And then it is rear-wheel drive, manual 4-speed transmission, estimated top speed, 121 miles an hour, so we can bump this up a little bit. And then it is an open differential because, again, these are more for like off-roaders and stuff like that, and that's not what we're building. Sports compound tires, again, cross-ply only because the radials aren't really common at this point yet. And then we've got drum brakes front and rear because, again, disc brakes aren't really common either. So this is going to be a challenge. This is going to be a challenge for sure. It's 4 seats. That's actually kind of weird that they have 2 front seats and 2 rear seats and not like a 2+2 or like a 2 and a bench in the back. But whatever. Premium interior. Premium AM radio. So what we might end up doing is kind of stripping it down to more of its basic stuff, like maybe going standard interior, save on some weight, maybe get rid of the radio, because we want to go like kind of hot rod sort of thing here, and stuff like that. So again, no options for different spring types and that sort of thing. What happens if I do a sport preset? Okay, it adjusted a little bit, but not not too much here. Yeah, so kind of a pretty basic start here. So how am I going to turn this into like a street racer? Let's take a look at the test track stats. 0 to 100 kilometers in under 10 seconds for a 1949 car. That's pretty quick. As is the top speed of 110 miles an hour. That's pretty fast too. But let's see, the quarter mile time is atrocious. 17 and a half seconds. So we can definitely do better than that, I think. Let's go back to the engine and let's see if we can't kind of push this to its limits a little bit more, just by doing a little bit of tuning. So let's see. Like I said, the engine can capably rev up to 6,200 RPM. So let's do that and see what happens there. So obviously it drops off quite a bit here, but if we stiffen up the springs and lifters, that should give us a little bit more high RPM performance. And it's the cam profile. All right, great. So now we're already making more horsepower. Excellent. Let's see just how much power we can get out of this engine. I might want to make it a little bit bigger too, because like a lot of those hot rods from this era, you know, they just went with like the biggest engine that they could. I'm thinking Street Racer from this era. I'm thinking like American Graffiti. If you ever seen that movie, it's actually really good. I think it's really good. It's one of the few movies that George Lucas made outside of Star Wars that I liked. So we could probably make this engine even bigger. Let's see, just see how big we can get this thing before it is too big to fit in the car. Yeah, let's see a 6.5 liter V8. Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be crazy fast. And yeah, we have to adjust this stuff now because obviously we're revving too high. But we're up to 255 horsepower now. That's exciting. All right, cool. So we got 287 horsepower, 328 pounds-feet of torque. So that's cool. We got a bunch of problems to sort out, including brake fade. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of wheel spin because it is a very powerful car. Quite heavy because we have a really big engine up front now. But we can probably sort those things out. Let's see here. Now, still showing the top speed there is 110. But our 0 to 62 is down to, well, I think it was already at like 9.2 earlier. So I don't know if we actually changed anything there. That's fine. We can bump this up to, oh, okay. We can actually go much faster now. So 133 top speed. Probably have a ton of wheel spin. Oh, it's actually not so bad. 7% isn't as bad as I expected. Still not great, but we can fix that here. If we go back into the interior, do standard interior. What's lighter? Is standard or, oh, sport's actually way lighter. Let's go sport interior with no entertainment. And since it's a street racer hot rod, we're gonna get rid of the back seats. Yeah, how about that? We just get rid of the back seats. That should save us on weight. I wonder if we can go back to the rack and pinion right now. Nope, still too heavy. What if we optimize weight, lightness? Okay, cool. That's actually not so bad. It's still saying it's reducing drivability and comfort, but it's no longer a flashing red light. So that's actually okay. Brakes suffer from brake fade, so they're already as big as they can get. What if we increase the pad type to race, like all the way, and then increase the rear force? Still showing a little bit of brake fade, but it's not flagging. Oh no, it still is. Oh, okay. I wonder if I can increase the size of the wheel a bit. Yeah, probably. What if we do 15s? Problem is, like, you really can't fit wide tires at all on this car, but we're understeering. We're not actually oversteering for some reason. We have a ton of wheel spin right now. So the front tires are narrow, but there's nothing we can really do about that because of the radial tires or the crossbody tires. There's just like nothing we can really do to increase with other than making the wheels super small. But then the brakes are going to be so now the brake force is too high. That's easy to fix. Okay, so I increased the octane without increasing compression. We actually are up to 289 horsepower. I mean, the wheel spin issues, I don't know. We might be able to sort that out by giving it a slower 0 to 60. What's our well, a really slow quarter mile, but I don't know. Like maybe that's just how fast cars were back then. And this isn't even 1950s, so cars were not really that fast back then, obviously. All right, I think I'm pretty happy with where it's at right now for a racer version of this car. It is probably something I'm gonna have to take into BeamNG and actually do some more testing with. But so far, I think it's pretty good. Obviously, I'm gonna work on the design as well. Take a couple looks at different hot rods from this era and stuff like that, and see if I can compare it to those and what I can be inspired by. But yeah, I think for right now, considering the constraints of the challenge and stuff like that, I'm pretty happy with it. So I'm gonna go design this and then maybe do some testing in BeamNG, and I will see you after it's done. All right, and here we have it, the Imperial Eagle hot rod. I had a lot of fun designing this. I think it looks the part. Looking at a lot of the real life examples of what a car from this era looks like, the designs don't get that loud or crazy. So I didn't feel like I had to add a bunch of random doodads and stuff like that, but I feel like I kind of kept it fairly realistic. I got some kind of like hood vents on the hood there for the huge V8 under the hood. I got some side exit exhausts. I got the white wall tires on there. This little chrome accent around the rear fenders there. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with the way this turned out. For some reason, the license plate is backwards. Why? But yeah, we got ourselves a hot rod here. It's pretty fast in a straight line. It takes a while to get there. Not really sure what to do about that, but once it gets up to speed, it can get to a pretty high top speed. Definitely a handful around the corners. Lots of wheel spin, as you'd probably expect. But I think this is kind of what I had in mind for attempting to build this into a street racer. I mean, I got really lucky that it landed on a sports car that I had to build into a street racer, and not like like a truck or a van or something weird like that. The last time I did this, I had to turn a delivery truck into a supercar. It actually turned out pretty well, especially since it was in 2018. So this is a very unique, different challenge to try to tackle here. A 1949 sports car, turned street racer. But I think I did a pretty good job. I love this very shiny purple paint job. I think it matches the hot rod vibe pretty well. I don't know why I like a purple car. I don't know what that says about me or anything, but it's something that I think stands out and is pretty flashy. So yeah, let's take a look at how this does in BeamNG.drive. All right, here we are in BeamNG.drive in the Imperial Eagle hot rod. I think it turned out pretty well in BeamNG.drive. Let's kind of drive around. This is the West Coast USA map. For whatever reason, this is still really choppy ever since the update, and I'm not exactly sure why. I've kept all my settings basically the same, and yet it is performing way worse. So, you know, I think I'm just gonna have to save up and get a better graphics card to be able to play this game at, you know, better, more stable clip. Because yeah, it's really very choppy right now. But that being said, I do have to say something right off the top before I start talking about the car. Something I forgot to mention at the very beginning of the video, and that is a huge thank you to everyone who has subscribed lately. This last couple of weeks, ever since I've kind of started focusing more on making content and automation and BeamNG.drive, the number of subscribers and views I've been getting has just gone way, way up, and it's super exciting for me. I really appreciate it. The channel now is over 100 subscribers, which is awesome. I know that's not much in the grand scheme of, you know, the capital Y, capital T YouTubers out there who are making millions of dollars off of YouTube or anything like that. But I really appreciate just so many people feeling like they want to see more of my content and hitting the subscribe button. So thank you so much to all of you who have done that. You know, honestly, I just enjoy making cars in automation and like testing them out in BeamNG anyway. I probably would just do that even if I didn't have a YouTube channel, but it's so much more fun when I can take this stuff and make it into videos and show it off to people who are also interested in this sort of thing. So, you know, thank you to all of you who have subscribed. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed already, this would probably be a good time to do so, you know, if you want. I'm not going to tell you to do anything you don't want to do, but if you have been enjoying my content and you want to see more, that's a really good way to do it. With that being said, this car, it's not the fastest in a straight line that I've ever tested. It is a bit of a handful around turns, got a lot of wheel spin, but that's just kind of the nature of the cars of this era, like the 40s, 50s, that sort of thing. There's, you know, the tires kind of suck. there's no way around that, really. And you got to really kind of baby the throttle and the brakes, because again, the brakes aren't going to be good either. But you know, I think I kind of did a pretty decent job, you know, with the whole like street racer vibe of this car. It drifts really well. Oh shoot! As I go into the grass there, I feel like it drifts pretty well. You know, the thing is, like, they gave me kind of a boat to work with. It's kind of hard to make this into like a really, you know, super sporty handling car when it's as long as I don't know. This thing's gigantic. But yeah, it's a pretty fun car to drive. Again, I wish I had a better graphics card so I could drive this around the city at higher than 7 frames per second. Man, this is super choppy. But anyway, yeah, let's take this to the track, I think, and take it around the automation test track and see, you know, how it stacks up. The only other car that I've built from this era was that Roadster that I made, that I will be revisiting at some point and doing the updated version of that for the 1960s. But that was the only other car that I've really built from this era, and that was the slowest car I've ever tested. So hopefully this is faster than that. If it's not, that'd be kind of embarrassing because this has a much bigger engine. But again, this is a lot worse handling, I think, than that car, because it is so big. But it does go a lot faster, at least in a straight line. So yeah, let's slam the brakes here, go up in the curb. That's a beautiful parking job. And let's take this to the automation test track and see what we can do with it. Alright, at the automation test track in the Imperial Eagle, I already laid down some tire marks because I was trying to test to make sure this would work. But anyway, let's go. Again, I am hoping this is not going to be the slowest car I've ever tested because, again, it's not very good around turns. It doesn't have the fastest 0 to 60 or anything like that, but it does have a lot of power. Just got to really be on the brakes. Very can't put like a lot of your foot on the brakes really because you know, they're very soft. Because they are just basic drum brakes. But yeah, I mean, let's see how this does around the test track. Will likely be a pretty slow lap compared to the newer cars that I've tested and stuff like that. Some of the supercars and things like that. But as long as we can get it faster than that like roadster that I built with like 100 horsepower or whatever, I think I'll be happy with that. Let's see here what speed we can get up to on the main straightaway. It does have a pretty high top speed. I need to double check to see what the fastest production car of this era was, but we're already getting up to 125, 130 miles an hour on that back straight before I kind of have to start to slow down. Once again, aerodynamics, not a strong suit in this time period as well, so no like rear spoiler or anything like that to kind of keep the tail of the car from going crazy. But actually did a pretty smooth job through that tricky double apex turn there. Coming up here on the chicane, gonna have to start slowing down pretty soon. Again, oh man, okay. Oh, not too bad. Not terrible there. Yeah, you really can't stop on the brakes because they will lock up on you, and then the tail's just gonna spin around immediately. Take this left bend here onto this turn here. Nice little drift coming out there. We're already past 2 minutes. Yeah, this is gonna be a slow lap, I'm sure. It'd probably be a pretty slow lap, so yeah, I don't know exactly how street racer this is, but it does have a really big V8 engine, and I think it looks the part. It's just hard to make fast cars in the 1940s. Alright, on to the final straightaway here. Let's see if we can get it under 3 minutes. That's kind of my my hope here. 2 minutes 49 seconds, 0.43. And let's see here. That's not the slowest time we've tested. Okay, great. So we did actually go faster than that roadster that I built for about 5 seconds almost. So very slow in comparison to the newer cars that I've tested and things like that, but not the slowest. So I'm proud of that. Let's take it to the drag strip and see what kind of quarter mile time this thing can put down. All right, we're back in West Coast USA, and yeah, once again, my graphics card is struggling right now. I think I'm gonna start having to do all my drag runs at the grid map until I can get a better computer. But let's see here how fast this thing can go. I'm not gonna rev it off the line because I had a little bit of an issue with that. Here we go. All right, yeah, it just kind of like stalls off the line there. So this is going to be a pretty slow quarter mile, I believe. Let's see what we get up to here. Once again, I'm just hoping for not the slowest time I've ever tested. Because the top speed, again, it gets up to like 100 miles an hour at the end of the run there. But 15 seconds, oh no. Oh no, okay, it's not the slowest. Still a lot faster than that other car. And actually not that much slower than that's, you know, 2000 sports car that I made. So I guess, you know, it could be better. But for this era, it's kind of hard to judge it against all the other cars that I made because they're all so much newer. But I feel like this, you know, it's probably pretty fast for the time. Again, I have to do more research to find out what cars of this era were doing in terms of top speed and things like that. But not the slowest car I've ever tested, so I'll take it. But, you know, now we have done all the other testing that I usually do. Let's go do the one final test and throw this thing off of the car jump arena jump. All right, we are at the car jump arena now, and I already told you to like and subscribe to the like the video and subscribe to the channel already, so I'm not gonna belabor that point any further. But I will tell you, as usual, I will be putting this car on the BeamNG mod source. So if you want to try it out for yourself, I will be putting the link to that in the description below. But yeah, I mean, this thing, it's. I wonder how far this is going to fly off the car jump arena, because it can get up pretty fast, and it doesn't really weigh that much, despite it being like all steel and all that stuff. So let's see. I'm kind of thinking it's going to be around the let's see, like the 350 mark maybe. But let's find out here. See what speed it gets up to before we even get to the ramp. Actually going pretty fast, 150, 160 miles an hour off the jump. Oh wow, this thing flew pretty far. And okay, yeah, I was like right on the money with the 350. Exactly where it ended up at, basically. Let me see if I can stop it. I mean, these brakes are terrible, so probably not. So it goes careening into the pool there, and it's gonna take a little bit of a bath. But there we go. Another randomly generated car challenge. I feel like I was fairly successful. But let me know how you think I did in the comments below. And if there's anything else you want to see me try in automation. As always, really appreciate you watching the video. I had a lot of fun making this. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.